Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of World of Tanks. Object 274 Alpha, my 100 battle challenge. I just finished the 274 Alpha. In the past, I've tried to make at least a little bit of content on those tanks as I go through it. I think I did some on the 274 Alpha a little earlier, but this one is just going to show what a little beast this thing can be in the right situation. The difference between this and the 122 TM, which is the recent Chinese medium, that was built on the Russian model-ish, is they both have good turrets, but this one is a slightly more mobile and has a bunch more DPM. So it really has the ability to spit rounds downrange, but it doesn't hit the ground right there. It does not hit as hard as the 122 TM, and it's not quite as accurate. But at close to mid-range, it's accurate enough. You can mitigate that with the use of food and some other stuff. Putting the right equipment on it, having a good crew, all that kind of good stuff. So I am try-hard mode with this thing, a bunch of APCR, obviously, and I'm running food. Funnily enough, I ended up with a worse win rate after 100 battles than I did on the 122M. Realize that 100 battles is still a fairly low sample size, but you should be after 100 in the ballpark of what your capability is in that tank. By the ballpark, I mean plus or minus 3% or so. That's a number I completely just pulled out of my rear end, but I think it's probably fairly accurate. If you want to go plus or minus 5%, then I can't really argue that either. But you'll be in the ballpark. If you're running at 60% at 100, you're probably in the ballpark. For me, it'd be slightly overperforming. You'd have to look at the rest of your numbers, mediums at that tier, all that good stuff. So 57, I want to say or so percent was what I ended up after 100 battles in this thing. I just wanted to show you this. Pretty slow to start with. We're up here just a Pershing myself. The 122M and the Indian are back on the hill. LTTB's kind of gone down the middle, but he's hanging out in the bush, just keeping him honest. My worry here is that the Bat Chat might have a CBS or something, and if I get too close or move up in here, I'll get spotted and beat up by their campers back on their hill. So this is pretty standard slow start for a team over here. What happens is our heavies do a pretty good job over on the east side and keep that side from collapsing. And we got a runner over here. Probably needed to back off as soon as I saw him, but I thought I might get a shot. If I shoot, I'm going to get lit. I think I actually do. Yeah, I know I'm going to get lit, so I just back out. There is an arty we have to watch out for. Notice that the reload on this is much nicer. It's more comfortable than the 122 TM. It's 7 seconds or so, 6 or 7, somewhere in that ballpark. Where that 122 TM has that 47-day in 5-hour reload. It takes a while for that thing to get another shot in. So this is more of a medium feel. But the turret is pretty spectacular. Not quite as good as the 122 TM, but pretty good. A couple weak spots up on top, little hatches there. And find this guy. He's not smart enough to realize he's lit, or maybe I just shot just as his light went off, and he doesn't really back out, so I'm not really sure what he's doing. Maybe he was looking for a shot across there, I don't know. Pershing goes in, he starts getting absolutely hammered. We got a Progetto and a Bat Chat, couple autoloaders, who knows what's back there behind him. I really don't want to push to them very hard right here. Plus they've got an artillery in the 55, 155-55, which doesn't hit very hard, but an artillery hit, 2 or 3 shots from the Progetto, maybe getting jumped by that 12T, and I'm kind of out of the game at that point, so we're just going to be careful. Back out here. And I think head back over to the bush. Notice that the east side is doing pretty well. They've actually got fairly good map control over there. We have a G-Sword who's just been lit. He's out in the open there. Not really sure what this plan is, but we miss, unfortunately. Don't get lit. I just auto back up. That's just a courtesy reverse. Get a hit in a track. That does light me. Notice I'm backing up every single time. Got a little bit of assist off that track for that poor G-Sword that was out in the open. That's good SA. There's the WZ-111 is back up there. So I expected somebody to be there. Now I know there's at least one TD. So we still have the Progetto, the Bat Chat. Our guys are starting to win a little bit more over on the east side. I'm just hoping maybe I can catch out something. Interesting that the Bat Chat has pushed up and been spotted, so I don't know if that was me or it may have been the Pershing. Got over there and saw him. Perhaps the 12T was firing, lost his camo, and that's what let me see him. I'm fairly confident now, though, because I assume he's been in that bush several times, and I haven't been lit unless I did something like shoot. So he doesn't have enough burn through or isn't running a CVS, so I'm pretty confident he's not going to get a light on me. You can see the LTTBs moving up. That's good. We're really starting to win over on the east side, but they do a little bit of evening the score there. And again with a 6-5. But I like that our heavies are all together, working together. The WZ back behind the building there. He's looking for shots on the Bison, that Tiger one. Looks like the Bison, for whatever reason, drives out into the open and pays the price. And it's even at 6-6. So we got to start getting something going on over here. We've got to get something going on over here, or they're going to be allowed to take all their guys over here and beat up our push on the other side over there. The Bat Chat has left. That's good to know. Just shoot there. It may have been the Bat Chat that actually saw me. Potentially the Progetto was sitting in that bush. But with the Bat Chat in there, he takes a hit, so that kind of confirms it to me that the Progetto was in that bush. Bat Chat looks like he's running around to maybe go try to help the push into the city, and it's now that I realize I've got to put some pressure over here. And I'm going to have to be the man for the job, which is a pretty good mission for this tank with this thing's turret. I knew I was going to get spotted here. I sort of expected to take a hit, get lucky and don't. I'm going to go for this little divot right here. What I'm looking for is this Progetto. If I can find him in this bush. I do have to watch for being shot from the left side, but it doesn't seem like there's anyone over there. There's a Progetto. Get a little aim in. Pretty decent accuracy. Get a bounce from that guy. I think he's shooting the Indian, knowing that he's a softer target. Good on the Indian for following up. I'm going to have to take this low ground here. Again, take a chance. Maybe we can get a sandwich going on with the Pershing. If the TDs come up and over the top, Pershing should be able to take some shots off of him. I take the opportunity to shoot Artie. Probably shouldn't have, but he dies. So, fantastimundo. Here comes the Progetto making a runner. I get hit by a 269, and then I'm going to lose a bunch of hit points here, sandwiched between two autoloaders. I move that way to get away from the 269 so I can isolate the dude I'm actually fighting, and come back now with the turret. So we bounced 240, we have 2,000 damage, put pressure on these guys so they can no longer sit there and beat up our guys in the city. A little late for that, it looks like, because they've killed another guy. Unfortunately, the Suma's back in the backfield. I can't do anything about him, but of course the camping 122 TM who did nothing but sniped from the back. The LTTB does a nice job spinning him around and stirring him up. That gives me an opportunity to move in for the moment unopposed. A little bit of trouble with the depression. A little bit of, oh, actually, yeah, get lucky right there with the 390 bounce. And look at those bounces just coming now. The turret and the upper plate on this thing is actually pretty good. I do have some help from above. Looks like the Pershing's doing a nice job keeping their heads down. And I can sit here with this great turret. Another bounce, another 400 hit point bounce, up to 1,600 bounce. As long as I can keep this turret showing. I know I out-reload him, so I'll just push up and get that shot. The WZ in the 69. 69 is probably on a reload. There he is, probably ready now. Just noticed him. Bounce off the side, bounce off his turret. Those things actually have pretty good turrets, but the 35, 55, or 53, 55 does me a solid and takes down the 69. 3,000 damage, 1,118 assist, 2,150 bounced. Tortoise, I'm hoping, has not driven over this way. I'm not going to have a lot of luck against him. Like to find this guy. There he is. So there's the WZ. Got a big gun. I'm a one-shot to him if he can get a shot in there on me. Finally, the 122 TM sort of moving up, but I don't really understand this maneuver. He's kind of going through the middle, but finally coming up through the low area right there. I've got to reposition so I can use the decent depression, not amazing, but decent depression on this tank. Zooming in and out, trying to find this guy. There he is. So we'll just start grabbing his top corner of his casemate. I'll take the little bit that shows first so I don't expose too much of my turret. And we're able to take him down with a couple shots, up to 3,420. Tortoise has moved back towards the cap, it looks like. We're going to speed this up. I actually go back this way. Then I notice the Pershing and the 122 are going to the cap, which I sort of wish they hadn't done immediately, although we are getting into a bit of a time crunch with 429. I do come back because I know if the Tortoise drives out, try to take them on. I want to be up here to get some shots on him. I'm going to let this go for a bit because he doesn't show up. We'll just head on down. And I figure, you know what, if he's out of position or shows up, We should be able to machine gun them down with 3 of us, so I'll just push in and grab a few cap points here, which is not required because it ends up being a win. 3 kills, 3,420 damage, 1,118 assist, and 2,150 bounced. This is really a good little tank. On my review, I called it overpowered. I still think it kind of is. I may have tempered that a little bit, not quite on the just plain old overpowered, but it is a very good Russian medium. Very good Russian medium. There's a lot to like about it. I think some people, the biggest knock will be the gun is slightly derpy, not too bad, can be managed, and it's relatively sluggish for a medium tank. But, it's faster than the 122 TM. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. That's all I've got. We're done with the 274 Alpha. Moving on now. The Guard is next. See ya.